The movie reviewed in this episode is rated R. Listener discretion is advised. So I used to plan a trip to Paris actually with students. I used to do this.
That was so Final Destination coded of you.
Oh my god. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Scary Movie Nights podcast, a bi-weekly podcast where the scares are real, but the friendships are realer. Today, we will be discussing the 2000 film Final Destination. That's a little bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah, 2000
the film Final Destination. That's Mariana.
And that's Joanne.
And we are your hosts for the night. But first, Mariana, let me ask you, what had you reading the signs this week?
This week I'm reading the signs because the Cougs are in the Final Four.
Okay.
Yeah,
good for you. Go Cougs.
Watching that game tonight, hoping, praying we're going up against a good team. But they have a really ugly mascot. Sorry.
Whose house?
Cougs' house.
There you go. All right.
What about you? What had you reading the signs?
What had me reading the signs? So, as you may or may not know, listener, I'm looking for a new job. Okay, I'm on the job hunt, and I came across a job posting for an FBI special agent, and I was like, why not? I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna apply for it.
That's so funny.
I might be
Special Agent
Cotton. Yeah. So that really had me reading signs. I'm like, is that dangerous? Oh well. Like, this is not working out for me, so I'm gonna do something else. It does, in my defense, it advertises as like a special agent or a federal agent, like education / teacher experience or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, maybe they want educators
as well, because I'm also on the job hunt. Although I've been trying not to think about it, so I haven't started applying for anything, and I really should. But I've also seen it, and I was surprised because me sitting at work, jobs for former teachers. Did
it say federal agent, FBI?
Yeah, that one came up.
That's amazing.
Whoa. I also had a coworker who was like, hey, you should do this personality survey. It might help you determine maybe what you should do. Girl, why was the first top response,
teacher?
You should be a teacher?
Hell
I was
no.
no. I think I'm good at it, actually, which is kind of sad. I think I'm good at it, and I like being in the classroom with the students that I teach at my current school, but it's just a lot. And the kids the kids all know now, so they all keep, Miss, why are you leaving? And I'm I don't know what to tell them.
That's so sad.
I know, it's so sad.
None of my students know, but I guess they will if they watch this episode now, because some of them do watch it. But it's a scary prospect to leave something that you love, because I do love teaching. I think it's really rewarding.
It's so rewarding,
but at the same time it's very tiring.
It's exhausting and draining in multiple ways, emotionally, physically.
And they don't pay me enough to be emotionally drained. So at least if I'm gonna be emotionally drained, I might as well be paid well for it. So it is what it is. Has me reading some signs. Anyway, enough about that. Let's take off for Final Destination.
Let me buckle my seatbelt.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Doesn't matter.
Oh my god. Okay. Let's hear some no spoiler synopsis. So listener, if you have not seen this movie, this no spoiler section is safe for you to listen
to. So. And it's a great time to see this movie and the subsequent other 4 films because the fifth one?
Sixth?
Hold on.
Or maybe it's 7.
It is. Where'd it go?
Because I think there are.
It is the 6th Final Destination.
Okay, yeah.
It is coming out May of this year, so that's super soon. Actually, by the time this episode comes out, that movie is probably going to be releasing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Actually, okay. So here goes. No spoilers. Final Destination 2000 is a supernatural horror film about a group of teens on their way to Paris who escape death after Alex has a premonition. Following their near-death experience, the group is slowly killed by freak accidents in Rube Goldberg-like manner, while Alex works to figure out how to stop it. It's kind of hard to say just 2000. It's always like 2000 and
2000. Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, Final Destination 2000s totally sounds like the title of the film.
Yeah, it
you
does.
know what I mean? Oh my god.
Okay, so this cast, I didn't know any of these people. I'm so sorry to these people. I think a few of the actors that were cast were kind of famous, or like they were in like big shows at the time, but I was 2 years old.
Well, do you know who Sean William Scott is?
No.
Oh, Stifler from American Pie.
Okay, he was familiar to me. But
Yeah, he was famous back then.
And then, okay, Clear Rivers, she's played by Ali Larder, and she is in Legally Blonde.
Okay, yeah, she is as like her
like the train that she's
frenemy.
defending.
Yeah, no,
she's the girl that she's defending.
You're right. That she's defending.
Yeah.
You're right.
Who got like plastic surgery?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a big spoiler for
for Legally Blonde. Whoops.
Okay, now something interesting though about the characters in this film is that several of the film characters are named after famous horror film directors, and actors and producers. So, for instance, Billy Hitchcock, that's Alfred Hitchcock. Todd Wagner is named after Todd Browning. Larry Murnau is a reference to Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau, known from Nosferatu.
Yep.
We have Agent Schreck, who's named after Max Schreck, who's the actor that played Nosferatu.
Agent Schreck.
Yeah.
that was one of the Letterboxd reviews that I came across.
Wait, when did Shrek come out?
Shrek came out the next year.
Okay. That's so funny. I can't remember a time before Shrek, and I'm happy to keep things that way.
Because time started when Shrek came out.
Absolutely. It's BS.
Yeah, BS and
AS. Now, originally, they wanted Alex to be played by Tobey Maguire, and they wanted Kirsten Dunst for the lead role of Clear Rivers, which is like so on brand for the 2000s, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That would have been that would have been kind of cool.
No, it would have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then they also kind of thought about Jessica Biel for Clear Rivers. But I really liked, what's her name?
Ali.
I thought she was great, and I really liked her. She played this like artsy girl, and she was like very alt, and she welded. Like, love that. Very cool. Also, Kristen Cloak, she was cast as teacher Valerie Luton, Miss Luton, and she's actually the writer Glenn Morgan's wife. So, is that nepotism? Is it nepotism only when it's like your children, or can it be nepotism when it's like your friends or your like partner?
If you ascend, I think it is nepotism.
Nepotism. Calling it out.
We're gonna say yeah.
Yeah.
Executive decision here. By the way, for Ali Larder, what I really love about her, so I used to be a huge fan of the show Heroes. That was like a totally like a 2000s like show. It's like 2006 to 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. And she played a character in that show. And so like the show, okay, let me talk about Heroes because like I love Heroes.
Tangent. Tangent alert.
Heroes was a show about like these people who were starting to exhibit powers.
Okay.
And superpowers, if you will. And Ali Larder's character's superpower was really strange because I was like, is it a superpower technically? She had like multiple personalities.
Okay.
But like one of them was a total psycho badass, and she had like super strength or something.
Oh.
So she would like clock in and out of these like different personalities.
Oh my god, it's giving Severance.
Yeah, clock in and out. Yeah. It's your shift up. So that's where I know her from. So every time I see Ali Larder, like I cannot get that character out of like I only see her as that. But I somewhat enjoyed Clear Rivers. I think Clear Rivers.
I'm hearing your thoughts.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the manic pixie dream girl stereotype?
Yes.
It's very much giving that.
Absolutely.
And I wish it wasn't.
I think so. That was one of my, I guess we'll call them qualms, but I felt like all the characters, they were a little bit like
archetypal.
Tropey. Yes. Which
that is one of my points too. Yeah.
But it was but then again it was the early 2000s, so maybe it wasn't so tropey and archetypal at the time for like a horror film, but watching it in 2025 with like the other films that I've seen, it did kind of feel that way. Now, speaking of that, so the screenplay was written by Glenn Morgan, James Wong, and Jeffrey Reddick, and then James Wong directed the film. But
not to be confused with James Wan, who did Insidious.
Okay, I was confused because I was like, oh, I know this guy. And then I went to his Wikipedia page and I was like,
No, it's not him.
I don't think this is who I think it is.
Yeah.
But it was the story was originally written by Jeffrey Reddick, and he originally wrote it for an episode of X-Files. So all of these people that I just mentioned, they've all written for a lot of TV shows, as well as some films. And so the story was written for an episode of X-Files, and he was inspired after watching a news story about this woman who was supposed to take a flight, but her mom calls her and is like, do not get on that plane. Like, I have this weird bad feeling. She doesn't get on the plane, and then the plane crashed.
Oh my... Whoa.
I know. And so that was like the inspiration for the film, but someone was like, that's a movie. Like, that's a movie. That's not an X-Files episode.
Yeah.
So he wrote it into a film, and then when they brought Glenn Morgan and James Wong in, they changed a lot of things. Also, the studio had them rewrite all the characters as teens. So it was originally a group of adults, but this was after the success of Scream, and so they wanted them all to be teenagers.
Going a little bit back on the premonition part of it, I think I've said this before on the podcast, maybe, but Brian's mom used to have premonitions.
Shut up. Wait,
She
you've
was, like,
never said this before. I've never heard this before. Please
No,
tell me
she
more.
was legitimately psychic.
Shut up.
Like she used to get like really bad feelings. She used to get I think one of the examples was like she and her sister were like driving somewhere, and she got like this like really bad feeling, and suddenly she was like, put your seatbelt on, because like back then, you know, they didn't have that was for losers.
Pussy.
Loser, double loser. Anyway, so she was like, put on your seatbelt, and she's like, what are you talking about? Boom, got like rear-ended or something. Yeah, like they were totally in a car accident. And
Did she put the seatbelt on though? Had she?
I don't actually remember that part of the story.
I hope she did.
I mean, she's had that
yes.
and like so many other things, and you know, it's kind of like, I wonder if she hadn't been raised like super conservative Christian. What if she had been raised by like a witch?
By like a Clear Rivers type character.
Clear Rivers, yeah. Because Clear totally would have been like, let's develop that.
And also just because like, you know, Clear Rivers, she's very like, she doesn't know Alex, and she's kind of this isolated character. She's kind of like, it seems like she's an outcast in the like community of the school. She's like by herself, like reading a book, wearing headphones, because manic pixie dream girl for sure.
Yeah.
And Alex starts freaking out, and she decides to get off the plane. And I was like, would I get off the plane if that happened? Would you get off
I
the
wouldn't
plane?
get off the plane because I want to go to France.
Okay.
I want to go to Paris.
I'm like, you love Paris.
Okay, they're crazy.
I
so
would also
let's
be
go
like,
to Paris.
I paid so much money for this plane ticket. Like, I don't think I'm gonna get off. But I feel like we're living in an era where there's like all these like iPhone or like camera phone videos of people like freaking out on planes. Like, have you seen the one where it's that lady and she's like, that fucker back there is not real, and she's freaking out.
I know.
So I'm like, I don't know if I would.
She was mental though. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so
hope she got the help she needed.
I did mention that the director for this film was James Wong, and I have a quote from him that I really like. It says, "We want to do for planes and air travel what Jaws did for sharks and swimming," which I think is really funny.
I feel like they were successful for a time.
Absolutely, and also get this: the plane in the film was supposed to be a Boeing 747.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny because there's been a lot of like incidents with Boeing in recent years.
Yes.
Now this.
I'm sorry, but if I was in that plane when the whole like panel.
Oh.
I would have immediately fainted, passed out.
No,
because that's insane, and that the kid whose shirt
screaming, crying,
flew
throwing
off
up,
of him
no.
or whatever, right?
No.
I would have had flashbacks of this actually. I've been like, this is Final Destination.
No, it literally, yes. It's giving Final
Destination.
It's giving, yeah.
Which I love the name of the film because it fits so well with the whole traveling theme.
Yes.
But then also like death is the final destination.
For all of us. This film, they shot it in Long Island as well as Vancouver International Airport. They also shot in Victoria and San Francisco. And also I thought it was really interesting during filming, they actually had a lot of these actors like simultaneously working on other projects. So they had to like work around everyone's scheduling, which I feel like it's weird. I feel like, I don't know how like actors' contracts work, but I would think like, oh, like you're committing for like a certain amount of time to be working on this project. Like with the White Lotus, like they were in Thailand for like 7 months, like shooting this film. The show. I can't imagine that they're moving back and forth, but I don't really know how that works at all. So, but I just thought it was interesting. That would be like herding cats, like trying to get everybody.
Yeah, no, that's really weird. I didn't know it could have worked like that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm like, what else were y'all working on?
Yeah, well,
except for
so one of these guys, I think he was in like a really popular show. I forgot the name of it. I want to say
I don't think he was on anything.
Dawson's Creek.
That's
like
who?
It says Kerr Smith. He was cast as Jock Carter Horton.
Oh, okay.
Dawson's Creek. I feel like I've always heard of that show, but I've never
seen it. No. The only thing I've seen about Dawson's Creek. Do you ever watch the Amanda Show?
No.
Is that? Okay, so for those of you who are older and decrepit listeners,
millennials, elder millennials,
the Amanda Show. Do y'all remember the Dawson's Creek spoof? I forget what it's called, but it's so funny. Anyway, Amanda Show was insane.
I've seen like clips of it, like bringing the dancing lobsters.
Yeah, no,
and, like,
it was
that kind
everything.
Of thing.
It was a bizarre show.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have loved it, and I also really love
so.
Amanda Bynes. I love She's the Man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For this film, they created a plane cabin that was on a gimbal. So the gimbal, like, it can move in like forwards and backwards and from side to side. I think from side to side, it can move like 45 degrees from side to side and then 60 degrees, like backwards and forwards. And so that's where they had everybody for like all the plane scenes. And I think they were kind of worried about like jostling everyone around, and they were worried about like the extras, like puking and stuff like that, which sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But that's how they got all of the shots of like the inside of the cabin during the accident. And then I feel like this is not a spoiler, like for the film.
Beginning?
Yeah.
No,
it's like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But for the explosion, they made and then blew up a miniature, which they called it a miniature. It was a 4-foot. Is that a miniature? That's a miniature plane.
Yeah, a miniature plane for sure. Yeah.
It was a 4-foot Boeing 747. It was a model 747 that they blew up, and then they had like several cameras that were shooting at like 120 like shutter speed. So like a lot, because they have probably had one shot to do this.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine that they're gonna make like multiple miniature 747s.
Guess we gotta go back and build another plane.
Yeah. Okay, so the budget for this film was $23 million, and it made $112.9 million at the box office. So it did pretty well. About half of that was U.S. and Canada, and the rest was elsewhere, worldwide, international. And then this movie has 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think it should be. I really like this movie.
Yeah, hard dislagree.
Right?
Like hard disagree on that 39%.
No way. And then it said 37% on Wikipedia, and then I checked it and it said 39. I was like,
is that a critic rating?
It was the critic rating. The audience score was 68.
Yeah, that's better. That's more like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, critics sometimes don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
This film has several sequels, so it's become a whole franchise. So there is 4 additional films. So there's Final Destination, which came out in 2000. The sequel, Final Destination 2, that was released 2003. Okay, so they got on that immediately.
Oh, yeah. On Final Destination 2.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're going to bring up. The logs.
Yeah, because the accident, like at the very beginning, there's always like some accident that they avoid, right? Well, at the very beginning, the accident is they're behind like a logger truck, and the logs from this truck dislodge and like cause this like major pileup. Girl, to this day, I'm like, logger truck to the opposite side of the highway and like speed the hell up. I'm like, I'm not driving behind that.
I think about that all the time. Final Destination 3 came out in 2006, and that's the one with the roller coaster, which I really like.
Okay, I have watched all of these, and yet I do not remember much of them.
I think
it's been a while though.
I have seen at least 2 of these. I had not seen the original before we watched it.
Okay.
For this episode. Then there is the 4th film, which is just called The Final Destination from 2009. Then Final Destination 5 in 2011.
I hate that so much.
Why did they do that? That's like whenever they release like a new book in a sequel and they make it a different height than all of the other books. Like consistency.
Yeah.
Maybe they meant for that to be the last one. Like the final destination, and then they made more.
Girl,
I know.
That's crazy because then they made another one 2 years later.
They called it 5. After that, they should have done different names, like with like Fast and the Furious. Yeah. So it's like Too Fast, Too Furious. Like
Too Fast, Too Furious.
I feel like we keep bringing up the Fast and the Furious.
At Tokyo, like, did you ever see Tokyo Drift?
Yeah.
God, that movie was so bad. Like at one point, they're just like in the cliffs or whatever. It's just like, we used to come drifting here in the afternoons, and I'm like, shut the fuck. And like while they're drifting, I was like, this is so stupid.
Also, that doesn't sound fun.
No,
like, I'm so sorry.
No,
that sounds drifting in the cliffside. Like,
it's like an afternoon stroll on the beach. No. I'm like, girl,
like go walk on the beach like a normal person. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Final Destination Bloodlines, which is coming out this year, 2025. There's also a series of novels.
Oh.
There's several of them, and they have the same premise. It's the whole same thing. Like, a character has a premonition. And
do you know if they're canon?
I want to.
Because like all of these movies, like they are related to each other.
I think they might just be
somehow.
No, I think they might be connected to each other somehow. I'm
like
not sure.
The books, but not the movies.
The books I think are connected to each other. I didn't really read that much about them. I did read like the plots for like some of the books, but it's the exact same thing. It's like, you know, someone has a crazy accident, then it's like That's So Raven.
Yeah.
Whoa, that didn't actually happen yet, but it's going to, that kind of thing. There's also a comic book series.
Okay, I love that.
So the first Final Destination comic book was titled Sacrifice, and it was published by Zenescope Entertainment, and it was like a package deal with this like limited edition DVD of Final Destination 3, and you had to buy it like specifically at this one store.
Circuit City?
Yeah, Circuit City.
Shut up. I had, oh my God. Did you ever go to Circuit City?
No!
Oh my God! I'm crash out.
This is really aging you today.
Look, I'm gonna just put a skeleton over my face when you edit this part of the, because like honestly, yeah, like I remember Circuit City. Do you remember Circuit City? Yeah. Yeah. This is cross-generational dating here.
Cross-generational. Yeah, literally.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then after that they like did like I think it was like a 5-book comic book series, also based on like the same premise, like based off of Final Destination.
I would love to read the comic books.
I think it'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool.
I think comic books are amazing. I actually like have never actually sat down to read one, but I think the art is like crazy. Like someone sat there and drew all of that? What? That's crazy.
I like reading manga, but that's because I'm a weeb.
Dweeb. Nerd.
Yeah, I'm a huge weeb, actually.
I have some additional miscellaneous facts, but these are riddled with spoilers. So I will leave them for later, and I decided this time I highlighted them. That way I know that they have spoilers. Okay. So I won't read them.
All right, great. In that case, I mean, I'm ready to go to the spoiler section if you are.
I'm ready.
All right, listener, if you have not watched this movie, beware, there are spoilers ahead. Which you should watch this movie.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
Absolutely.
I feel like we've recommended every movie that
I've never not liked a movie.
I've never not.
There's like very few movies that I would be like, do not watch that movie.
Yeah. On our, well, like, for example, our Lost episode for Swallowed.
The
for
Lost
our
episode.
Patreon After Dark Scary Movie Nights. So let's get into those spoiler facts because I'm curious.
Okay, so for the train scene, so there's a scene where there's like a car stalled out on the train tracks, and then there's like a train coming, and one of the characters is just kind of like giving up, and he's like, screw it, like I'm gonna die, I just want to like at least be in charge of how it happens, and eventually they like pulled him out, and they used a replica car that was like pre-severed in half, and I assume they used a real train, which is crazy. Like, how do you set that up? Do you like hire a train company? Or do you just like sit on a railroad track waiting for a train to come? I'm sure.
I think they have trains specifically for this type of stuff. Yeah.
And then the car, they actually like could not have any sheet metal on the car for safety reasons. So, you know, because that stuff could like fly out and kill or hurt someone. Injure the actors, which is actually exactly what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Also, like really interestingly, so relating to that death, where am I? Okay, so right after the plane explodes, so they all get off the plane, like about 5 of them. Does that include their teacher? I think it's like 6 including the teacher.
Yeah.
But they all get off the plane and they actually foreshadow some of the deaths in that scene. So Terry, who's like the cheerleader girl, who's like the girlfriend of the jock guy, and then Billy, who's dude from American Pie.
Okay, yeah.
Their deaths are foreshadowed. So while Terry is staring at Alex, there's a picture of a bus in the background, and she's later hit by a bus.
Yep.
And then for Billy,
the most boring death, by the way.
yes,
I was like, really? She just got
also one of the first that they shot, and they used life casts, is what they call them, of all the actors for the deaths, which is kind of crazy. Like, imagine like watching yourself get hit by a bus. Like, that's kind of nuts. But and then for Billy, he's like looking up at the plane taking off, and the reflection of the plane across his face, it's like flying like right across his neck, and he later is decapitated by a piece of metal flying off the car when the train hits the car. What else? Life cast of the actors. Also, the song, the most memorable one, and this was for sure definitely on purpose. It was Rocky Mountain High by John Denver. It was super highlighted. John Denver died in a plane crash, and the song plays multiple times throughout the film. It's either before or after a character dies. And they also have a singer, Alessandro Giuliani, singing it in French whenever they're in Paris. They never actually were in Paris.
And that's what tips him off.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit, it's not over.
Yeah. And that was not in Paris?
No, they shot all in Canada.
They should have just shot that
US.
1 5-minute scene and just should have just gone to Paris.
Well, the budget, man.
Let's all freaking go to Paris.
Also, if you're an actor filming a movie about people going to Paris and almost dying, would you want to get on a plane to Paris to go shoot that?
That's a good question.
Also, another bit of kind of sort of foreshadowing, when Miss Luton is examining the smoke coming out of her monitor, there's an image of a large dagger in the background, and it's also it's part of the design on her stained glass door, and that was on purpose. It was foreshadowing how she would die, because later like a knife kind of like lands in her chest, and then a chair falls on top of that knife and really like brings it in there.
That really plays on the like the signs are there if you know to look for them. Even though like I feel like anything could be a sign, really. Okay, so until you can, in hindsight,
absolutely. So that's something that the directors mentioned in their writing. They thought that the idea was really compelling and interesting, because really anything could be something that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And so instead of the mystery of the film being like, oh, is this character going to die? It's, when is this character going to die, and how is it going to happen?
Exactly.
And so you're looking at everything.
That's the anticipatory, you know.
And I love that.
Yeah, because me too. So that's one of my, if we just want to get into the good, but like, that's one of the things that I wrote that's so good about this film is it builds tension so well, because you're like, that could kill him, that could kill him, that could kill him, but they're not killing him. What? And then it was like, it was one of those things, like, I knew it, but like you didn't. Yeah. It's such a good technique, I feel like the directors and the writers
it was so
with
cool.
this.
I also love that they called a lot of these deaths, like, they all seem like these freak accidents, but of course, like, your enemy or your bad guy here is something you can't see, like, it's death, and it's sometimes like this like shadow figure. But I love that the deaths sometimes happen in like this like Rube Goldberg machine type beat.
Oh yeah,
like,
me too.
I love Rube Goldberg machines. Like, I would sit there and watch like Rube Goldberg videos and just be like,
they're so much
they're
fun.
entertaining. So I love that about it. That's like my what's good about them. the Rube Goldberg aspect of it all. Also, after I was going to mention, because I was talking about the train, but so we watched this movie at y'all's house on a Friday night for Scary Movie Night. Yep. And we're driving home, and we're driving over like railroad tracks. Ooh. And Logan stops the car at the railroad tracks. I got really mad. I was like, get off, get off. I was so angry.
Wait, that's so funny.
We had just finished watching this movie. I was like, what is... I got mad at him. I actually got mad at him. Sorry, Logan. I was freaked out.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to tell Brian. He's gonna die.
He's gonna love that. Yeah.
Good job.
Stop it. Don't encourage it.
Anyway, any other fun little facts? That's...
That's it
I
for
feel
me.
like that's all you that I see here.
Yeah, I guess I could also tell you because I spent like 10 minutes watching this music video. But the the main actor, Devin, he starred in an Eminem music video. Yeah.
Shut up.
It's a song called "Stan." I've
Okay.
never heard it before.
No.
But it's like an 8-minute music video. It's long.
Whoa.
I was like, "Whoa, cool,
Okay, good for him.
cool."
Okay, great. Yeah, I actually really love this movie.
Me too. I can't believe it just has 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like this
I don't
movie was
understand.
so fun.
I can understand why, because a lot of critics don't go off of like fun,
That's true.
right? They
or
go
like
off
enjoyment.
of like, is there substance? Is there like, what are the yeah?
I liked it.
And I feel like to go, not to like harp too much on critics, because I think that their job is important.
There's value.
To like
No,
critique
absolutely.
art and make sure that there is some level of analysis and keep people accountable to making good art.
Absolutely.
But I do feel like there's like this disconnect between critics and audiences a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And then I also think that it's an issue of when audiences try to be too harsh of critics, I think, because like I think they try to don that persona of like, well, this had no substance into it, and I was like, but did you enjoy it?
Yeah, that's
was
a
it
huge part of it
fun?
for me. Is did I enjoy it? Would I want to see it again?
Right.
Did I have fun? That's my litmus test
Yeah.
for is this a good movie? Not at all. Like I mean, we all know I don't really look at the themes or. Although sometimes there are some things. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go.
There are some things I will note. I think one of the things I noticed the most is cinematography.
Okay.
And I've mentioned that some of the things that I would like to notice more is like the score and the music.
Mm-hmm.
But cinematography is like huge for me. And like sometimes I'll see like a movie and I'll be like, wow. Like we watched Conclave.
Like the camera work?
Yes, the camera work, or
Okay.
just like the way the shots are set up.
Yeah.
We watched Conclave, and there's just one shot, and it's just all these like archbishops like sitting in like a bunch of seats. But the way that it's lit and like the contrast of the colors was so pretty. By the way, loved Conclave.
Conclave was good.
So good. I loved it.
It was up for best film.
Stanley Tucci for Pope 2028.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I need him.
too.
I need this.
Come on, Stanley.
Anyway, you were going to say something.
Oh
no. I hate when this happens.
as we know, I'm a little dumb, so I just forget things
I
sometimes.
think we were talking about like noticing themes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, I notice
You
themes
do, yes.
a lot of the times, and that is certainly a reason to enjoy a movie, and it can make a movie enjoyable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not all that
No.
a movie is.
No,
A
you're
movie
so right.
is art at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
And like it's like the experience of that art.
yeah, and it could be meaningful, or it could have literally no meaning, and it's just
Yeah.
pretty.
Absolutely.
Or fun, you know what I mean? Like, I think people need to,
Or weird,
some people need to stop being critics and just like enjoy. You know what I mean?
It's giving it's giving like in Ratatouille when like the mean food critic
Yes,
eats the Ratatouille and he
exactly.
like flashes back to his childhood. That's what's going
No,
on.
exactly. Yeah, because it's like, God, just like eat the food to enjoy the food. You don't
Watch the movie
have
to enjoy the
to
movie.
break it down.
Yeah.
Watch the movie to enjoy the movie.
Absolutely.
And this is definitely an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
It's just because of like the craziness of it. I think it's like the over the topness of it.
Yeah.
The complexity of the deaths too. I also love that actually like it kind of sets up death as this like villainous force.
Yes. Because usually, like, you'll have like Michael Myers, like you have your killer, who is the evil force, the antagonist in the film. But in this case, it's death.
Yeah, it's death. And that is, I think, explored in like the sequels a little bit more. The guy who they meet at the morgue.
Oh yeah, he's
you remember
like
that guy?
they have some recurring characters. Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't he play Candyman?
He plays Candyman, yeah.
Did you know that the Candyman serial killer is like real and it was like here in Houston, like in Heights?
A what?
Yes. Okay. Found it out this week. He was one of the most prolific serial killers.
That's insane. Wait, I did not know that.
Yes, I didn't either. But he lived in the Heights and he had like a literal candy shop, so they called him the Candyman. He was a white man.
Okay.
Something Kroll, I want to say. But he
Holy.
killed. They know that he's killed at least 27. It was young boys. Yeah. Look, yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
it's kind of nuts.
so this guy that's in the morgue.
Yes.
He He also played Candyman. Yes, correct. Which I've never seen, and I should, because I know it's like a classic.
I saw it when I was like in middle school at like a sleepover.
Oh, okay.
I think I was like too scared to like remember it.
Actually watch. Yeah. Well, I think there's like theories that he is actually the personification of death that stalks all the victims.
Because he tells them, he's like, I'll see you again, Alex.
Well, actually, so he, I think, appears in the second movie, because Allie comes back as Clear Rivers in the second movie. And I think they meet him again, and he like explains some more cryptic stuff about, you know, whatever.
I hope that they have some of the old characters, like, or the old actors return for this new one. I love when they do that in movies.
That would be really fun.
I'm a sucker for that.
But they're dead.
Oh, that's true. Well, not all of them. Are they all dead? Did they all die? Did Clear die in the other movies?
Okay, so spoilers.
This is a spoiler section.
Yeah, spoilers. For Final Destination 2 specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clear, I do believe Clear dies.
Imagine
in Final Destination 2, and I'm pretty sure Alex is dead by the time they start that movie.
What the hell?
So like Final Destination 2, the way that, so the people who are trying to, you know, escape death actually find Clear at a mental institution.
Oh.
Wait, have you seen Final Destination 2?
No.
Okay,
I've seen the third one. I remember the third one. I have no recollection of the second one.
So they find Clear in a mental institution, and when they're like trying to go see her, they were like, okay, you can't have, you know, needles, nothing sharp, no pens, no pencils, no this, no that, no paper, no this, no this, no
nothing.
This.
Yeah.
Like literally, you can't have any of these things.
You gotta go in naked.
Basically. And they were like, wow, is she like really that dangerous? And they were like, no, this is all from her request. Like, she's requested all of this.
Damn. She's like, put me in a padded room with nothing.
And that's where she is.
Wait,
actually.
whoa.
Yeah. She's like in a padded room with like maybe like a mattress or something, but like she basically has isolated herself completely from death. And I feel like that's a very interesting like character progression, because she ultimately decides to leave the mental institution to help these kids like escape death or whatever.
But and at that point, like that begs the question, like, is she even living at that point if she's just living in a padded room?
Correct. And I think that's how they get her out. But you know, there's a big allegory, like metaphor, character growth development sort of thing that happens there, which, going back to Final Destination, this one, when Alex is completely isolated. What's his name? His name's Alex, right?
Yeah. Alex.
Okay. When he's isolated in the cabin, and he's literally just like looking around, and he's like so sweaty and like can't sleep, whatever. And I'm like,
horrible existence.
What is the trade-off here?
Yeah.
You're living, but also like, I don't know if that's called living necessarily.
Yeah.
I think there's a big theme of that in this movie as well, of like, if you know death is close, how would you choose to live your life?
Yeah, and would you choose to just live your life to the fullest, or would you try to change like your fate?
Right.
Because that sounds terrifying.
Right. And going back to wait, is this Hereditary? When the teacher was like, is it more tragic that they know? Hereditary. Or is, you know, What do you think about that? Is it more tragic that they know that their death is inevitable? Or would it be more tragic that they don't know?
I think it's more tragic that they know.
Okay.
I would rather not know.
That they cannot fight against their fate.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's terrifying.
So it's better to be ignorant.
Yeah. Ignorance is bliss.
Is bliss,
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
I would want to know when I die.
Really?
I would not want to know.
Oh, you would not?
No, I would not want to know.
Okay, yeah.
No. I would not want to know if I'm going to die or not. Because I feel like every moment of my life, and this is just how I am as a person, every moment of my life would be in anticipation of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I just don't want to know.
Yeah.
Listener, what do you think?
Yeah.
I really want to know if you guys can comment. Actually,
we just got really deep.
We just got really. Wow, que bajón. Like,
wait, is that thing from Barbie? It's like something inevitable thoughts of death, Barbie.
Yeah. Inevitable thoughts of death, Barbie. That's me. Okay, let's move on to the good, the bad, and the spooky.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the good. What's your good?
I love the 2000s aesthetic of this
Yeah,
movie.
that's exactly what I wrote.
I really love it. I also love the Rube Goldberg, like, you
I
know,
love that.
the Rube
One thing
Goldbergness
that's
of it
in-
all.
yeah.
But I love the 2000s aesthetic. I think it's so interesting how trends are so cyclical, because I'm sitting there, like, we're watching this movie, it's 2025, and I'm like, wait, that outfit's really cute.
Oh, God.
Wait, their house is so cute. I, like, was, like, you know how, like,
God.
Y2K is, like, in again, and, like, you know,
Yeah.
Gen Z is, like,
Oh my God.
using up all these trends, and so I really love that. And I just really love the premise of this movie. Like, it's that anticipation of how is this character gonna die and what's gonna happen. It was so good, and you would just like hear John Denver, and you're like,
Yes.
happening. It's
You were
happening.
so conditioned to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
To when they hear it in Paris, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
what's your good?
I also love the totally outlandish deaths.
Yes.
I mean, that's really
Yes.
why you watch this
it's
movie,
like
right?
freak accident with
Yes.
a capital Eek.
That's why you watch this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what makes it the most fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This like weird, morbid desire
Yeah.
to watch someone die, but like in the weirdest freaking
Yeah.
way. Except for, I guess, getting hit by a bus. That was
Yeah.
the most. But like when they're in Paris and the freaking billboard comes down, that's
Yes.
insane.
No.
That's so crazy.
I loved the teacher's death. Like, that one was just like, that was my favorite one, because
The
the whole
teacher-
time you're like, oh,
Me
it's gonna be this.
too.
Oh no, it's gonna be this. And
That
then,
was my favorite
and then, like, a
one.
bunch of stuff happens, and then the house like explodes. Like,
Yeah.
it was nuts. It was nuts.
like, okay, to
Yeah.
add insult to injury.
Yeah.
But and then I also love, and I know we made this point, I like this. I like that all the archetypes are present. Actually,
Okay.
I think it's so
Oh,
cheesy because
okay.
it's just fun. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. First, I think as a lover of horror,
Mm-hmm.
there was a time when I was like, ugh, that's so cheesy and overdone and da 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 da.
Mm.
But now I kind of like, I find comfort
Yes.
in that, to where it's like, oh, I love the nerd and the
yes.
jock and the, oh, that's so cute. You know what I mean? I don't know if
know exactly what you mean. And so the night we watched this film for Scary Movie Night, my suggestion had been Cabin in the Woods, which
Yep.
also like uses all of those tropes. But I love the trope, that movie, because the tropes have like a
Meaning.
and like
Yes.
there's a reason for all the tropes being there.
Yeah.
That movie is also so crazy and just fun and
I
weird.
love Cabin
I
in the
loved
Woods.
it. We should do that one
Yeah,
too.
we should.
Perfect. Yes. I actually, that's really funny, because I have the tropey characters in my
Bad.
bad section. I just haven't
No. So that's-
transcended past
it's
it like
definitely
you have.
totally a
Yeah.
personal thing, to where I think Cabin in the Woods helped me become more appreciative of the
Yeah.
archetypes, because I just think it's endearing almost,
Yeah.
to where it's like, oh,
I think
but
I like when
it's not
people
necessarily a good
don't
thing.
fit into a specific box.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that's where, like, that's why I put it under my bad. But I also, what else did I put in my bad? Oh, I think that's it. It was like, maybe it wasn't so tropey at the time because it was the 2000s. But man, it was like very much like, she's a weirdo, he's a jock.
Yeah.
She's a cool girl, and she's
a
blonde.
cool girl. Yeah, and she's blonde.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What was your bad?
Speaking of archetypes,
Oh,
so
yes.
I don't like the manic pixie dream girl archetype that
Okay.
Clear Rivers has. It felt a little forced to me, to where it's like, no, Alex has to have a romantic
Yeah.
interest, because she's like weirdly obsessed with him from the get-go, and I'm like, she wasn't even that obsessed with him
Okay.
before the plane.
Also, I feel like their chemistry was a little bit off. Like,
It was.
whenever they, like, there's at one point where like they kiss, I was like, oh, like when did that happen? Like, when did
Yeah.
they like each other like that?
It feels like
It feels like they've just like trauma bonded.
maybe trauma bonded.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. She feels like drawn to him in some way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I do think that Clear is also sensitive.
Yeah.
She just doesn't. She's just not quite as sensitive as
Yeah.
Alex. So maybe that's what draws her to him. But she definitely is the sounding board for him to like
Yeah.
not feel as weird. And so the manic pixie dream girl archetype / stereotype for me is a little exhausting. But
Yeah. I think I also really don't like whenever movies have like a character who's supposed to be like a weirdo or an outcast and maybe not like traditionally beautiful, but then the girl that plays the character is like gorgeous. I'm like, you're not selling me on her being a weirdo. Like, give her weird, like, make her look weird.
Yeah.
Make her a little
and
ugly.
It's like you never noticed her also before she started doing it. So it's, literally. I don't know. It's yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's ironic that this came out a year before. Before 9/11, actually. I was like, they could not have predicted that, of course, but I'm like, damn. Also, like, I wonder if it hurt or helped, like, the viewership of the film. I'm not really sure if was there like a sudden spike in Final Destination or a sudden dip in Final Destination. Blockbuster, please help us.
That's so funny.
What's your spooky?
Okay, my spooky planes. Flying in planes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I understand that they're statistically safer than cars, but they are still so scary. Like,
they're so big. How do you get them up there?
You're in the air. Like, what?
How do you get them up there?
I understand the physics. I get it. Like, but
I don't. It's Matt. I'm just kidding.
No, like, rationally, I
understand its physics.
I really nuts.
If you asked me to explain the physics of a plane, I would be a little hard pressed.
I'm not like afraid of getting on a plane. I actually like love going on trips, and I like enjoy going to the airport and like the whole like everything about going on a trip. But if I'm on an airplane and there's turbulence, like I am clutching my seat. I am like squeezing Logan's hand, and I'm scared.
Okay. Story time. Last time I used to plan a trip to Paris actually with students. I did. I used to do this.
That was so Final Destination coded of you.
Oh my god. Horror movies are life. What can I say? So, I used to host. I used to plan trips to Paris with students. I did 2 of them, which, by the way, were so incredible and amazing. Like, oh my god, if I could do it again, like, I definitely would.
You actually invited me on one, and it would have been free.
Yes,
but we had plans already.
Yeah, wasn't it your honeymoon?
It was. We'd gotten married earlier that year, and so we were gonna go on like a trip to celebrate that. And, But I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, and we weren't like really close at the time.
No,
like,
we
were
weren't.
more work colleagues.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn, that would have been fun. Like a free trip to Paris.
No, yeah. It was it's amazing, and it's really cool to see the students, interact in like the real world and in a different country. But anyway, on our way there, the last time I went with students, we had like I think the worst turbulence I've ever experienced in my life. And Brian and I traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when the lights flickered.
Oh my god, no.
Like,
I would have lost it.
I seriously thought we were not going to be okay. I expected at least the oxygen mask to drop down, because it was that intense. Like, and so I don't throw up on planes. I actually love flying. I think it's relaxing. But this time it was definitely not relaxing. I made sure I knew where my puke bag was, because I was feeling it. I was like, okay, I might puke.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then one of my students leans back and she goes, "Do you have a bag?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And I gave her my bag, and I was like, "Okay, Joanne, you have to get it together, because I can't puke on this plane."
I've never had turbulence that bad.
No, it was actually really bad. And even if you ask Brian, I think, because Brian is a lot calmer than I am. I'm a little more drama.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, that's it, I'm dying. This is it. This is it.
Like, this is it for me. Yeah, even if you ask him, it was really bad.
Oh god, that's crazy.
And so I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of this, because obviously trip to Paris, Final Destination. I was like, am I about to have a vision right now? I was like, if I wake up 5 minutes ago, I'm going to
lose it. Lose it. Crash out. What was your spooky? Was that your spooky?
Actually, no. But I mean, yes, it is part of it. So I think the spookiest thing for me is the idea that death comes for you and you can't escape it.
Which is the truth.
Even if you do manage to somehow escape it, it is its own force.
Yeah.
And in this movie specifically, it's completely independent from logic. There's like the order or whatever of the way that people die, but even if it skips you, it comes back.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if I like, because they make it seem malicious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Towards like death is evil sort of thing. I don't know if I like that in contrast to the usual death is neutral and it's just like a force of nature sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting concept
Yeah.
of basically death being a serial killer.
They do make it very like ominous, but
yeah.
I agree, because death is just a natural part of the life cycle.
Right. And it's like if you somehow skip that step, well, then
Yeah.
it will come back and rectify.
Yeah.
It will try to maintain homeostasis.
It's giving it's giving the Deathly Hallows, the three brothers. Have you?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
No. It's like a story of these three brothers who like they come across a river, and usually the travelers who are going to cross the river die, but they're magical, right? Because they're
Okay,
wizards.
sure.
So they, create a bridge, and then death comes, and he's like, "You've avoided me, but let me congratulate you, and like, what I'm going to give you some gifts. Like, what would you like?" And like all of the gifts, like one of the brothers wishes for the most powerful wand ever. Another brother wishes for a stone that can resurrect the dead.
Oh, wow.
Did I say resurrect?
Resurrect. Yeah.
Resurrect the dead. And the last brother asks for something that will allow him to avoid death going forward. And so he gets like a cloak of invisibility. And so those are the three Deathly Hallows, right? The Elder Wand. Oh my God, I'm such a... I'm a Harry Potter adult. The Resurrection Stone, and then the Cloak of Invisibility. And then the first brother, like, he is actually killed that night because he goes to like a town and he kills a powerful wizard, and they like slit his throat to take the wand from him.
Whoa.
The other brother, he like tries to resurrect his dead fiance or lover, and she's not the same because obviously she's dead.
Yeah.
And he like kills himself. So death took two of them already.
Whoa.
And then the last brother, like, he uses the cloak to stay away from death, but eventually, like, when he gets older, he passes it down, and then he like welcomes death. And that's like the
learned
whole
his
the brother's
lesson.
tale, the tale of the Deathly Hallows.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I really like it. And every time I watch the Harry Potter movies, when I watch the last one where they tell that story, the animation is so beautiful. I really love it.
Whoa,
anyway,
okay.
yeah.
Deathly Hallows. Death. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and rate this movie.
Yeah.
Let's rate this movie in the number of signs you'd see before your impending doom.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, I think I would see 4 signs. I really like this movie. It was so
Okay.
fun. I loved it. I would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
So I would see 3.
Okay.
I would see 3. I like this movie. I think it's good. I think
Yeah.
it's fun. There's not much
Yeah.
past that. So I think it's a good, enjoyable film that I would recommend to people,
Yeah.
but it's not something that I'd be like, whoa, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm really excited to see this new one, though, that's coming out.
Me too.
So we should go see it.
Yeah, we absolutely should go see
Together,
it.
yeah.
I watched a trailer today and it looks really cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to see. I hope they don't overuse CGI, but I am excited
Okay,
to see if they
that's
use
what
it.
I was about to
if
bring
they
up.
use it well,
Yeah.
it will, I think, add to the
So
film.
the whole thing is like it's this family whose grandmother survived. Like she had a premonition and she survived. I don't know how she's still alive. Or I don't know if that's supposed to be clear. I don't know. She's not, because they show the premonition and it's like the 60s, so it's very like mod and like very cute, or maybe it's 50s. And they're in like a big,
Oh,
I don't know if it's in Seattle, but
right.
it's like a needle, and they're like having a party up there, and like the thing
Yes.
comes down, and it's very
And death
like that
comes
part's-
for all the
that part's
family because
CGI
they weren't
heavy, and then
supposed
it
to
starts
be.
coming for the family. Yeah, because none of them are supposed to be alive. Because she was supposed to die.
Right.
That's why
very
it's called
interesting
Bloodlines.
concept.
Yeah, it's Final
Bloodlines.
Destination Bloodlines.
Okay. All right. Now let's see if Letterboxd agrees with our ratings.
I love this part.
In this section, we read memorable Letterboxd reviews that are interesting, especially insightful, or usually downright hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You want to start us off?
Yes, so this is Single White Femalian. Final Destination is my favorite movie because the boys go poop together. I love positive depictions of male friendship. Yes, we stand boys who are regular. That's so good. They like alluded to that a lot. Like that was like a
Yeah,
like a big part
thing.
of the beginning
Yeah.
of the film, where they're like, we gotta go poop, like we're gonna be on this plane with like hot chicks.
Yeah.
Like you don't want them to
With
go
hot
in after you've
chicks.
taken a shit, or it's gonna stink up the whole cabin.
Things that you worry about as a teenager. I can totally see
Literally.
myself worrying about that, to be honest. Okay, this one's by Amaya. Oh, to be a 2000s horror movie character, unapologetically dumb. Driving to Nine Inch Nails songs, rocking low-rise jeans, bangs, lip gloss always applied somehow,
I
etc.
loved it. I love it.
Honestly, yeah, the 2000s
well, they didn't have
aesthetic is
smartphones
strong.
to look up everything all the time.
That's true.
Like, that's crazy.
That's true.
Okay, this is Zoe. I am now afraid to do anything ever again.
Yeah.
So true, bestie.
Honestly. And this one is from Rachel Rhodes. Alex is a clammy, sweaty-looking bitch, but I like him, especially when he's told about the weird art piece inspired by him, and he apologized because it's fuck ugly.
Also, I totally thought that thing was gonna kill me. And
the thing?
Doesn't it like come down on him at one point? It comes down on someone.
Maybe.
I think maybe the car, like when Clear is stuck in the car,
Yeah,
like
maybe
that
she
in
was
her
stuck in the car,
garage.
yeah.
Also, where were her fucking parents?
Oh no, she comes from a troubled home.
Yeah, but like they just
Like,
leave her
her
alone.
dad's
What
not
kind of money?
there.
Well, her dad died, but
Yeah.
they have this cabin, vacation home, and then her mom is just off with her stepdad somewhere else, and they just leave her
Yeah.
alone in this big house. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. They got money.
They got money, girl. And that about does it for today. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the podcast, tell your friends about us, and don't forget to rate us 5 stars in whatever app or podcast service you use to bring on the spooks.
Please follow us on our socials by going to scarymovienights.com. Our 2 most used social media platforms right now are Instagram and Facebook. Just search Scary Movie Nights on either platform and you'll find us.
You can also message us through our socials or by sending an email to spooky@scarymovienights.com. Tell us what you think about the original Final Destination. Did you watch it? Was it your thing? How many impending doom signs would you give it? I'm Joanne.
And I'm Mariana.
And thanks for joining us for another Scary Movie Night. See you in 2 weeks. Stay
spooky.
spooky. I like keeping the clap in there. I think it's kind of cute.
No, I love it. I love the
right?
clap.
Okay, good.
It's like it's a part of the thing.